They didn't see the muzzle flash. They didn't hear the crack of the shot tearing through the air. The only thing the Russian soldiers noticed in the frozen trenches of the Eastern Front was that the man standing right next to them would suddenly stop breathing and collapse into the mud. In that brutal winter of 1945, darkness was supposed to be a soldier's only sanctuary. Night was the absolute law of survival. When the sun set over the gray German horizon, the war stopped, because nobody could fight in total blackness. But suddenly, that fundamental rule of centuries of combat was silently broken. Entire Soviet patrols began to be decimated in the middle of dense forests, in complete and absolute darkness. The few survivors returned to the front lines terrified, eyes wide, speaking of ghosts with red eyes watching from between the pines. They swore to their superiors that the Germans, in their final desperation, were using black magic to summon spirits. In the mind of an experienced soldier of that era, it was physically impossible to hit someone with surgical precision from 200 meters away on a moonless, foggy night without using a single flashlight. It was biologically impossible to see a human target in those conditions. The panic spread like a contagion through the Soviet trenches along the Oder River. Soldiers were afraid to sleep. They were afraid to light a cigarette. The feeling was primal. The fear of being naked before an invisible predator you couldn't fight back against. What they didn't know was that it wasn't sorcery or ghost stories. It was the painful birth of modern warfare. While they trembled in the dark waiting for death, on the other side of the forest, an elite soldier of the Wehrmacht flipped a silent switch and turned night into day. Through a special scope, he saw his enemies glowing in a ghostly shade of green. The invisible hunter was on the loose. The culprit behind this terror had a cold, technical name, Zielgeret 1229. But the troops, with their dark humor, gave it a much better name, Vampir. For the German soldier chosen to operate this technological beast, the honor came with a brutal physical burden. The device wasn't elegant. It turned the already heavy Sturmgewehr 44 assault rifle into a clumsy, heavy metal anchor. To use it, the soldier had to carry a massive backpack made of reinforced wood and metal, weighing nearly 35 pounds. They called it the Power Pack. Inside was a primitive, unstable battery full of acid, connected by thick rubber cables to the weapon. On top of the rifle, mounted like a terrifying cyclops eye, was a massive infrared lamp attached to a special optical scope. To the naked eye, the lamp appeared to be completely off. But through the lens, it cast an invisible beam of light, a spotlight only the operator could see, revealing the movement of the enemy in ghostly shades of emerald and gray. It was a marvel of engineering, but it had a terrible price. The battery lasted only 15 minutes. The operator had to be fast, precise, and lethal. If the power ran out mid-combat, the soldier was left carrying 30 kilos of dead weight, becoming a slow, blind, and extremely vulnerable target. One of the darkest accounts comes from the plains of Stargard. A Soviet infantry unit had entrenched for the night, believing they were hidden by heavy fog. The silence was absolute. Then, without warning, the unit sergeant was hit exactly between the eyes. In seconds, 3 more men fell. There was no sound of engines, no signaling light. The Russians began firing their machine guns blindly, lighting up the forest with tracers, but they were fighting shadows. On the other side, hidden in a camouflage nest, a single German soldier with the Vampir system watched the scene with cold calm. For him, the Soviets weren't hidden. They glowed like clear targets. He could see the steam of every man's breath and the movement of every finger on a trigger. It was a massacre, the moment human perception met the electronic gaze of death. When Berlin finally fell, the race was on for intelligence. Allied agents searched underground bunkers for any ZG-1229 prototypes that hadn't been destroyed. They found wooden crates sealed with "Secret State Matter" stamps. Inside lay technology that seemed alien for 1945. That discovery launched the greatest technological evolution of the post-war era. The secret of the Vampir didn't die in the bunker. It was dissected and perfected in the most secret labs in the United States, becoming the foundation for the night vision goggles used in Korea, Vietnam, and beyond. The Second World War ended, but the lesson remained. Darkness no longer protects anyone. Since those cold nights in 1945, humanity has never again been afraid of the dark itself, but rather of what might be watching silently from within it. The vampire soldier disappeared into history, but his eyes remain open on every modern battlefield.